we make a new project?
For AutoCADs?
Yeah.
Yes. So what questions do we have after doing the homework for an hour or so? That's fine. Like, yeah. You have a toolbar? Someone working on the toolbar? That's good. Yeah.
I got it image now, sorry.
So you're saying that for every picture, it should be a section?
Mhm.
Couldn't you just make one section and just have it sort of flow through?
You'll probably have both, to be completely honest, when it's all said and done. So I'm hearing a lot of pictures around kind of what's a section, what to be a section, what not to make a section, what's an image, and kind of what V was kind of talking about, like, are we going to have a section here or a section there? So I would like to take this time to kind of work together, go to a different site and kind of break it down together, and kind of work through a site together. So does someone have a good site that they like? A favorite site?
Can we use
That's
Pinterest
part
for
of
this one?
What?
Can we use Pinterest for this one? Since it's simple?
Yeah. We can use Pinterest.
Everybody else, it's in Pinterest.
Can we hack into Pinterest?
I cannot encourage hacking unless you're doing white hat hacking. Then I can say go for it. So Pinterest. Pinterest.
Did you read about the 17-year-old kid that made $100,000 hacking into websites?
Oh yeah. Ooh.
You don't have a Pinterest.
Thank you for that.
I do have a Pinterest account. I don't know what's on it though, but
Be careful.
yeah.
Turn off. Turn on the.
Yeah, right. So nothing too crazy here. That's good. Cool. Yeah, this is fine. So I wish I could draw on this. Right. So we have Pinterest. That's a very busy site. That's okay. We can do this. So let's kind of break this down and think about this. So we have, what HTML elements do we have here?
Images?
And we see a lot of images.
The header.
Text, we have a header, the nav bar. We also have a search bar as well, search box.
Internal links.
Here, let me get the cord.
Links.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you for coming get this.
So we have some random sized pins going on there as well.
Working on your new haircut.
So Pinterest is something I used to use to keep pins for hairstyles. Yeah, that was a idea that I didn't go anywhere with. Didn't even try it. So yeah, here we go. So let's see if we can recreate something that looks reasonably close to this, knowing what we know. So let's first off focus on this header bar here, above everything else. What do we think would go there?
In terms of sections?
Yeah.
A nav?
Do you have your Pinterest logo in the corner?
Yep. So we have the Pinterest logo inside of a section. So let's create ourselves a section. Can someone read me off what else is there as I type?
Are we all just looking at Pinterest together?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, for the two that came in late.
Sorry.
We're getting a lot of questions about like how to break down a website, what sections are we going to have, what's going to go here and stuff like that. So we're going to go, we picked Pinterest. We're going to go and try to recreate that the best we can in the next hour. 50 minutes. So we have a section. And I'm going to give this a class top bar. I don't like top bar. Nav bar. I like nav bar. So what do we have in here? We had the logo. which was an image
It's like
tag.
a home link, right?
Yeah. Was it a home link?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So we have the home link.
Search bar.
We have the search bar. What HTML tag is a search bar?
Search.
Search, more specifically, input. Input type search. So this is our first real introduction to the input. Input tag is what we use to collect user information or any sort of user interaction. That covers text boxes, check boxes, radio buttons, and all that stuff. We're going to hit that more once we get to JavaScript and can actually do something with that user input. So, search bar.
The home button.
So we have our navigation menu, the home, following, explore, and my profile, an icon, and a little dot, dot, dot.
So that's just the list.
Yep. So UL with a whole bunch of LIs.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
And what do they say?
Home. Following.
What's the shortcut you did for that list? Yeah, that was useful.
Okay.
Profile.
What? Profile.
There's just, I think it's just like a picture with your profile name on it.
Okay, some sort of icon. We'll fill that in later.
Messages.
It's like a notification.
And then
That's just a notification.
Messages, notifications, and settings.
so what did I do to get all those LIs to show up? So I typed in something. Now, a cool thing about text editor with the code editors, if nothing's highlighted, so see how I have nothing highlighted here? If I hit copy, it's going to copy the current row that I'm on.
Okay.
Then I can just kind of paste. Another shortcut, just to blow y'all's minds, I believe this will work, times 4. Boom!
Oh.
Li times.
Yeah, so this is something called Emmet. And it allows you to type in shortcuts, and there's a whole little like language around it. So I can do like a section has p times 3.
I'm so.
Gotta feel the pain. Then
So-
once you find
so
the
those
tool-
are three, so you'd be writing 3 paragraphs of
Yeah.
content.
So like if I knew my HTML structure, I could actually like build it out using this Emmet, using the shortcuts, and then yeah, right. Woo-wee. It's nuts.
Or just have app here for you.
Anyways, so here we have.
Wait, so if you did, so going back to what you just did with the copy, whatever
Yeah,
the
copy
lines,
paste, yeah.
and what you just said with the app. So in the app, you could kind of have a structure of header, 2 or 3 sections, a footer,
Yeah.
and then just kind of and start building it from there,
Mhm.
as opposed to just having the head, metadata, title, link, and
So that app could do more for you, but it doesn't because we want it to be kind of. We want to start you there, not up here.
yeah. But so eventually we could go back and edit that app to have that
Mhm.
structure based on what we've learned already,
Mhm.
and start working from there.
Yes.
This is more of just a general question, but when me and Chris were working over there, so are you suggesting that we always start with the HTML first?
Yep.
And then go back and style it? Because that we kept going back and forth between starting with something, then trying to CSS it, and then so.
Now
okay.
I always go.
I think
Here's the basic part of what I need. Because if I look at something and try to style it as I'm doing the HTML, like I need another section, I need another section, I need more
Right.
sections.
Right.
And that gets my HTMLs now complicated, heavier, and just a mess to work with.
Okay.
So it's always, what do I want on the page? And now let's see if I can get it, how little do I have to add to get it to look the right way. So I'm gonna steal this picture from Pinterest. Oops. Oh no, I can't steal it.
Actually,
Sure, you could just like Google an image of Pinterest.
Yeah, just
you can.
It's just a P.
look at all those divs.
It's a
Yeah.
special key.
This is
That's disgusting.
all those divs.
That's bro.
This is what I was talking about.
Yeah, that's not the whole page code, is the
That's just a B.
That's
Click on the image itself.
That's a
Double
crazy
right
B.
click on the image itself.
yeah. It's not an image.
It's what?
It's a
He's trying to find not the actual picture. He's trying to find the Pinterest logo.
Yeah, I thought this was an actual logo. This is something called. This looks like it's like drawn there.
it's
It
a
looks.
whole-
It's a SVG.
Oh, it's not that one.
Yeah. So you know what?
I mean, we take that one out of our
black P will
shot.
work.
Got a big B.
There's everyone's gonna wrap that in a span. No, just a P. All right, so now I want to run this. Terminal, yarn start. So here's what I have. I have my link, my search box, and my list. Yay, that's good. Now I want to style this. How do I want to style this? What do we want to use?
First thing that is a row.
Display flex.
Yes, I want to get it in using display flex. I'm going to put it into a row. How do I do that?
So you need to put it in your section. You need to give it a class.
Yeah, you already did. So you create the
Your nav bar class should have display text in it.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, it's the cross.
Yeah.
I have an extra yay P in there, but
Alright, now you need to get the
Flex
list.
direction row. Yeah.
The list has to be inflexed.
all right. How would I do that?
So you need to do it on the parent. The UL. Do it
UL.
on the UL.
All right. I'm going to do a bit more specific. Nav bar UL.
You're doing that so that later on your order list won't get messed up.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. So what's the difference between doing this and just doing this? And I think Michael alluded to it a little bit.
All
You all grab all the ULs and hope it.
Yep. This one grabs all the ULs on the page. This one only grabs the ULs that are inside of navbar. So this is scoping down, restricting my selector. And y'all said display flex. Nope, not what I wanted to do at all. All right, so here we are. That's not bad.
List style type. No.
Yeah.
Take it one.
That's
Yes.
the little ones.
Okay.
Just give me a minute.
Did you do the style or the style type?
Style. Style type.
No, it's the style.
Let's style none.
Style. No. Display.
Yeah.
Does display flex have to be on top of the style type?
Nope.
Yeah. RUL.
Did you call the class inside of the UL?
So now that we have that, what happened to our Pinterest? So we have the bar, we have all these things back to back to back to back to back to back. So let's get the search bar the proper size.
That's just hiding it on
Yep. Input height of 1 EM. We'll do 1.5.
I'm having trouble with EM and getting away from just using pixels. I mean, I understand when we went over EM, I don't know, I guess I'm just not conceptualizing how to use it.
So normally you should default to using EMs
Yeah,
for almost everything.
because
Yeah.
EM scales based off of it, right?
Yep, EM scales based on size.
Okay. That might have some bigger issues with it.
What was your? I assume your issue was something wasn't.
Our heading, or on the Arcodex,
Yeah.
the nav bar, the grayed out portion,
Yeah.
the website had 15 pixels, 20 pixels, so 15 for padding.
Okay.
So maybe we should use EMs instead.
Yeah.
Can you go to your HTML page, your index?
Mhm.
Why don't you use a nav section as opposed, and just, instead of just putting this, does it make a difference, does it,
Where are you talking about? Right here.
yeah, the UL, you're right.
So I know this is an unordered list, and that's kind of become the standard. If I would wrap that in anything, which I might be wrapping it in something in like 10 minutes. If I'm going to wrap this in anything, it's going to be a nav, because that is my navigation. I also might change this section to be a nav as well. But it's just at the end of the day, where at the most sense doesn't make to say this is my navigation. This is where my navigation is.
The last part, where does it make sense?
Yeah, so where does it semantically make sense to call this my navigation? So this has to be a UL because I'm using an unordered list. I could just as easily, if I wanted to, wrap it in a nav.
Right.
There's none. Yeah, that was getting all fancy. One more.
One more. See, I could do that, and maybe I should.
Okay.
But really, I would almost argue that this could be considered the nav bar.
That's how.
The whole top bar
Right.
is the nav bar. But it's wherever makes the most sense for screen readers and the screen scrapers to be able to identify where the navigation is.
So basically, anything that's considered a navigation component would be inside that wrapper nav.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you can have multiple navs on the page as well.
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to make sure. Okay. Feeling good?
If you have multiple navs on a page,
Yep.
you could just ID it or a classic.
Just like you can have multiple sections or multiple lists or multiple links on
How
the page.
do you get your list items to go? Mine,
So now that we have it spray, oh, it's really short. So now that we have everything horizontally, let's get it stretching across the entire screen.
Space.
Space is for constant.
Space.
Space around. Or space. Oh, space evenly. I didn't even need that one before. I don't know. Right.
That's not the fun
Well,
part.
between's gonna take it all the way to the edge. So,
Yep.
Is that what we're looking for?
To look like this.
Yeah.
Where's the search? Yeah, you just gotta tinker with. Okay, yeah, and then now you just gotta change the sizes of everything.
Yep.
Space bar's in the middle there.
Yeah. So that bar needs to be huge.
30 EMs.
Let's see what they have it on their styling. They just have width 100% on it.
100%.
That just means take up the rest of the room.
Yep. That means take up as much room as your parent will allow.
So as we make the size of that bigger,
Yep.
the search bar will go down.
Yep.
Okay.
And what did you put on soil?
Oh yeah, I did. I put width 100%.
Oh, okay.
No, not 12. All right, so now we are at here. So let's just see what space around will give us. I like space between better.
There wasn't much of a difference.
Not much of a difference.
Well, it's because it's so.
There's so much.
100%.
Yeah.
Even because it's 100, it's taking up a lot of room anyway.
Mm-hmm.
You could align items in there too, so.
So let's see. So we got this plus a couple links here. It looks like these things have some margin on them.
Yeah.
To kind of space them out a little bit.
That's padding, right?
Margin.
For margin?
Yeah, I would probably put a margin. I'm going to put a margin.
Why have margin instead of padding?
Margin is on the outside of the element.
I didn't get that.
Yeah, padding is on the inside. So why one or the other? It's kind of up to how the design works. When I look at this design, I see that these links are by themselves small, but the space that they take up is really big.
Okay.
Because when you hover over them,
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
So see how there's stuff out here?
Mm-hmm.
So this says to me, can y'all see that gray versus white?
Yeah.
So that gray would be the padding, and the white up here and up here,
Is the margin.
yes.
So we don't need a real big margin then.
So it looks like we need about 1 EM margin and 1 EM padding. I choose one because it looks like one.
That's just something you're going to get a feel for eventually.
Yep.
That's the thing that I'm having trouble with this EM. When you say 5 EMs, I don't know how.
So 1 EM, and I'll say it again, 1 EM is the width of a letter.
Of an M or
Sure.
I thought you said the other day that it was
It's-
based off of W because it's the longest letter or something.
M.
Or M.
Well, what's an upside down M?
Yes.
Yeah. So, so it's really, you can
Data
think
about-
about it either way, but it's the space of a letter. So what was I doing? Padding and margin. Nav bar, LI. Yep. I'll give you a margin of 1 and a padding of 1. So bonus question, how do I do the hover over effect?
Just after the nav bar, you type in hover right.
No.
So this says to me, we don't have margin between them, right? So margin, so what is it? It's top left. Yep, top right.
Clockwise.
Certainly good.
So even more bonus question, how do we round the corners?
It's okay. So I've done this before.
Uh,
It's
um,
you have to do
Radius.
half of it, right?
radius.
Quarter of it using radius. So it would
round
be
equals true.
round equals true.
Round colon true.
Border radius is. Okay, I'm thinking about making a complete. How is it that you make a circle again? Is it like half of our?
Yeah, it's a really big border radius.
And I'm just like,
It's third day.
I've been doing this a lot longer.
I know.
Radius. You should feel good that I make it look so easy, because that means I know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
So in my younger days, I took dance, and I got frustrated with that exact same sentiment. Like my instructors and everyone else made it look so easy. And they're like, "Well, that's good. That means we know what we're doing." I know.
I don't know. Your color's way off on the hover, so.
Yeah, you have to go with the lightest gray.
Yeah, that's good stuff. So here we are. So, thoughts so far?
So that's the first time I'm seeing this hover thing.
Yeah.
So you did navbar, li, so you make it all the li.
So this
Is there
right
other
here,
attributes that you can use instead of hovering?
yeah, hover, visit, click, visited, focus. There's a few. Those are called pseudo selectors, and those are conditional selectors that only activate when a certain event happens. So it's like this says, hey, whenever I'm hovering over my LIs,
It's changing the color.
give it this style. Kind of like how the media query is a conditional for the screen. That's a conditional for what's called an event. That word event is something that will crop up a few more times. It's kind of used to hearing that.
Event?
Event, yep.
So you clicked on the link and it changed the color or.
Yep. We'll look after this. So we have our menu that's doing the things. Are we understanding this so far? I mean, maybe we're not being able
Seeing
to
it,
do it
yes.
yet, but
It's
following
in
along. You're still in the same car as me.
Real quick. So when you have navbar, the main navbar.
Yep.
You have navbar for UL, LI. Or is UL and LI? I can't see the HTML right now. Is it inheriting it, or are you calling it?
So what do you mean by that? Let's screen this real fast.
I think it's inheriting.
It's inheriting.
wrapped in the nav, right?
There we go. Because the L, you see how on the LIs you don't have class equals.
Mm-hmm.
It's inheriting it from the
Yeah.
the nav tag.
Yep. So I was bringing my CSS again. So this is saying style my navbar. The selector right here. This selector is saying for every UL that's inside of my navbar, and this is saying for every LI that's inside of my navbar.
Mhm.
It doesn't matter how deep down the chain it is. All LIs inside of that navbar will be styled the same.
Gotcha.
If I wanted to restrict it to just the direct children, I would change it to a greater than sign. So like this actually won't work.
Because it's not direct children.
Correct.
The UL would be the direct child.
Correct. Yep. All right, so now we have that going up. So what are we going to work on next? Let's get
Can we get that search bar to
look a bit better.
match up with the actual height of the
Somebody mentioned earlier it was align items, isn't it? Or align.
A line item center.
Yeah.
Where would we put that?
It would be in the nav bar, right? You want everything in there to be.
Ah,
Align
an
items.
item center, and now our entire nav bar is in line. All right, so now let's quickly style that p tag. Navbar A. We'll give you margin normal. Liam, color of white, background color of red, and then font cursive. What was it? Font cursive? Someone did this recently.
For what? For the pictures?
No, yeah, someone showed me
Helvetica.
what
Helvetica.
font family.
font family. That's it.
want to have a sensor in it.
That's what it was.
What a design.
Border radius. Do a really large number. Boop.
The larger the number, the more of a circle it is.
Yeah. So what the border radius is doing, it's actually cutting off 1/4 of this and applying that quarter to all 4 corners.
So I've done circles before, and I'm remembering something where if it's like, if you have a square, and you border radius it has to be like half of the height.
Yeah, half of the height or half the width.
You take a square, if you take half of the height, it will make it a perfect circle.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
So if you do, in terms of radius, if you give it 4 parameters,
Yeah, it will do.
Each one. Yeah.
Yep.
each one,
So you can do like a straight top and a curved bottom.
Right.
too.
All right. So how we feeling?
so far so good.
So far so good.
Search bar though.
Search bar, notwithstanding.
You put links in the list notes. Maybe it's changed to LIA, right?
Do I?
I tried it. But
Sure it's failed. Oh,
never. Okay.
What did you just do?
Never
Just
mind.
bring it on.
So what I did there was Alt plus Control plus up and down gives me multiple cursors. So Alt Command, sorry.
Wow. Okay. I'm just
Uh-oh,
Uh-oh.
uh-oh.
LIA.
Yep.
So you just have to, it's right now here.
So how would we fix this? Bug. Solutions.
Well, you have to make sure it's only on the,
So we need to target this and not these.
right, so
So
we need to make an ID.
ID.
ID, okay. We can rock out with that. ID equals what? P.
Not a script
Logo?
Pinterest, right?
Paragraph.
P logo,
Logo.
P logo. Logo. I like logo. That's a good one. It's Pinterest, but tomorrow it could be
And
not Pinterest, so our logo is now an N. So here, how would I change this?
pound, P,
Yeah.
pound logo,
Okay.
Wait,
Now they're blue.
Yes.
Yeah, that was our question.
That's our
asked.
Color. What color were they? Black.
I'm thinking of ours. Ours is black.
Sorry. Nope. Wrong way.
what's that?
So in a hexes, Fs are white, all Fs are white, and all zeros are black.
And if you got 333,
Yes. So does anyone know what hexadecimal actually stands for? You see these hex values? So for the hex values,
0 through F,
yep, it's 0 through F. But the first two are the red value. So how much red is in it?
Red, blue, green. Yeah.
Then the next one is blue, and the last one's green. So that squished together is what color it is. And if you pick the same number for each 3 combination, you'll get some shade of gray.
There's more combinations with RGB though.
Oh yeah, you can do any combination you want. So here we have our links.
How do you get rid of the underline? Text decoration.
And I might have to change what I'm targeting there.
Also, it's overriding something.
Yeah. So this is one of those things where our color is getting overwritten by the user agent style sheet.
Important.
We can just use important. So remember how I said yesterday the browser comes with default style. So the browser is going, oh, even though you're telling me everything has this color, I know that A tags, a more specific specifier, should have the color blue. So we need to change that, our selector, to be a bit more specific.
If you do it in the hover, when you put the hover,
There we go.
Okay, so we
Yeah.
have some standard settings that we want.
Yep.
Could we not put those standard settings as a grouping images and the CSS file on top and says, okay, for the body or asterisk, everything.
Yeah, that's a very common thing to do. It is. There's a couple of different styles. It's a override browser. Nope. Browser CSS. So there is actually a lot of style sheets that people will pass around and say, I'm trying to see if I can find one. But normalize is a good one. And what people do, people will include this CSS sheet at the top of their browsers. And this resets all the default styles. Like this sets everything to nothing. So like all the padding, margins, colors that would come with the browser, it's all reset back to nothing here. And then they put their style sheet below that so they can actually affect on a clean slate.
that's the restore factory settings kind of.
Yeah, that's the, yeah, you're trying to be custom, but I'm not going to let you.
And that would be so when you say the browser,
Mm-hmm.
so whatever browser I'm using,
Yep.
it's gonna clean whatever is in there,
Yep.
and it's gonna,
It'll reset everything back to
what,
a standard default.
so it always renders the way.
Correct. So there's no like surprise padding or surprise margins or anything like that. Or surprise colors. Okay, so I'm feeling pretty good with the header.
So
Alright.
what about putting the search thing with the little magnifying glass?
So I'll leave that for y'all to figure out, because that's got a little bonus. I want to chat about this stuff. Because really this just kind of, so this search,
Can't you just type it into the actual search bar?
placeholder search, and then the way to get the icon in there, there's a couple of different methods. I'm still trying to figure out which one's really the best practice. But there's a way to do it. So let's talk about these pictures now. Each one of these cards. Let's pick this gentleman sniffing a flower to really hone in on. Can I zoom in there? Oh, where'd he go? Where'd he go? Where'd he go? There he is.
There you go. I know.
There we go.
Wrapped.
It wrapped.
Flex wrap.
It's good to know.
Responsive.
It wrapped. It's responsive. So let's pretend for a minute that all these pictures are the same height. So we have to deal with differential heights because that's a really hard problem. What do you see here? Rounded corners. So we need border radius. That's a good start. So we have an image
The margin.
It looks like it's inside of a section because it's grouped together with these little 3 dots. So we see every picture actually has a picture plus the 3 dots. So that itself is going to be one item. So let's go over and let's make the basic HTML for that. So I'm going to create a section called,
When you just type section, do you even have to put the symbols around it?
so section, type whatever tag you want,
And it will do it?
Tab.
Okay, good. I'll say we just type tab.
yes. So pins. Section. Pin. All right. So this section pins is going to be the entire page. It's going to be all my pins.
Okay.
And now I want to make one pin.
So you label your classes to be intuitive.
Yes. Yes, this goes down to naming your classes something you can understand. And doing your HTML like this helps name those classes what they are. So inside of a pin, I had what? An image and a menu, right? So an image that had a source to nowhere for right now. Then I also had those little dot dot dots. What would we make those dot dot dots? A button?
Text.
Text?
The
Link? A link? We'll work out with a link for now. Kind of just see what happens. 'Cause I don't even know what it does. Whoop.
Oh, it's gonna pop up
It is just a pop-up.
with links. What's the pop up?
So
But
we'll challenge ourselves at making a button. Okay? So button tag. It makes us say a button.
You would need JavaScript to get the pop-up, right?
Correct. Unless we want to do something crazy fancy with CSS pseudo selectors. Whoa, it refreshed the page. It's okay. So yeah, so here we have our image. I'm going to steal, can I steal this image?
I was like, I thought that was
Copy image address, there we go. So you notice that even though I know I'm going to have a whole lot of pins here, I'm only doing one first. I'm not trying to do all of the time. I'm working on styling one of them. Hint, hint, if I had a homework assignment with a whole bunch of cats on it or something like that. So I want to get this one pin styled up correctly, and then I can just copy and paste it. So what do I have going on here?
so first or
It's actually not bad.
But
we need to get it
looks
columned.
okay.
It's okay. Ship it, right?
Pinterest.
Yep.
We need to get it columned.
Yep, so we need to get it columned. We need to get some sort of hover on it. And we need to hide and restyle this button.
Isn't there also like a gray box around it as well?
Mm-hmm. So let's come over here and normally,
Oh, is that only when it hovers?
it's only when I hover.
Okay.
So I'm going to go into that section now and say pin. All right, so how do we column two things?
Flex, display flex, and then flex direction column.
Stretch.
So I'm going to throw a max width on it, 15 EMs. Ooh, nope. 20. Good enough. Good enough for me. So, they're stacked now. Now we got to worry about this button.
Button's got to go to the right.
Question mark.
Yeah.
We know there's, in the original, the one we're trying to replicate, the cat one, there's 3. So can we use a percentage for that? Like let's say 30%, so we know it's going to 30%. 10.
That's good until you get into the responsive, because there's not always 3. If you shrink it down, it might only be 1 column.
I understand. It will be 30% of the column.
Mm-hmm.
It will still, in the responsive environment, will go just small to the side.
Right. So you need to do something about that button. How would we approach this?
You need to flex end.
Flex end? What would I flex end?
Pins.
Move to bottom.
Don't you need to specifically target that button?
Do we
Yeah, that's
justify
not
that?
pins.
Oh, actually, no, you could do it because if you moved it to the right, it's not gonna move the picture to the right. Because the picture's already fully to the right.
Okay, so what property do you want me to type here?
So you could just do with justify
Flex end
content.
will work.
Or no, just.
Yeah, because you
we
made
make
column.
it need to go right. It can't be justify because we're in column. Justify would be moving it up and down.
Oh, we need to go right.
Yeah, we need it. It
Oh,
needs to be
on line items.
aligned.
Right, line items.
It also doesn't help that our button is filling up its parent. Let's give you a good width.
Oh, but it's no wait. Why did it?
So what did I just do there? I added a width to the button. The button by default is going to fill up its whole parent. So it's going to be as big as its parent. Its parent is what? Pin. So we said pin was 20 EMs, 20 EMs wide. So that button by itself is now going to be 20 EMs wide. So it's like, let's shrink the button down a little bit. So so now we can move it. And let's go back to what our original idea was, justify content. Nope.
Just do a line item. Even button.
Align self.
Line set.
There we go.
Border.
So now we need to round the border a little bit.
Just pin image. Pin image.
Pin image, border radius. Bit harsh. That's a bit harsh.
3.
Make it a bit less harsh. That's good. It's close. I'll take it. I'll take it. So now we want to get it off the edge of the screen here a little bit, right?
Hover.
Hover. We'll change what I have. I want to create the white space around it first.
Padding.
Padding. So why padding and not margin?
Because let's say
No, I mean if someone else wants to answer it, but
Margins up to, right?
no, margin is on the outside, so it's like out here.
Oh, because
Uh,
Padding
would
is
be
on
in
the
relation
inside.
to the image, right? So it'd be
Padding will reduce the image.
Padding will give us that little border here that will allow us to actually put in the hover over, so it's gray whenever we hover over it.
Was that correct? So the padding will shrink the image? Is that a correct statement, like you said?
The padding shouldn't shrink the image; it'll just give us more space there. So why is the
Just
padding? Not,
making the container bigger
yes.
and not touching the image.
because
Right.
the padding is going to be from the edge of the picture out,
No, I don't want the button.
right? And the margin is going to be to the screen to the
Mm-hmm.
The margin is going to be outside of the container,
Yeah,
further out.
the margin is outside of the container.
Between objects.
Yeah. So if this screen was my container, my margin is up here, over here, under here, and also over here. So padding was the way to go because I wanted to move the content in a little bit.
Right right now you have 0 margin.
0 margin and 1 padding. Now let's add the hover. Pin hover. Background color. We'll do that same nice gray.
It's beautiful. In around the edges on that.
Yep. So I'll just copy this, plop this up here, plop.
Not right there. I think you put it on.
Nope, it's there now.
Or what did you put? You put it under pin.
Yep, I put it under pin. So remember, pin is the whole section. So pin is this whole thing here.
Because you don't want it to. you want it to
Okay,
run.
so that just made the whole container, the whole section rounded. So now when you hover it, it lights up.
Yeah.
It's just highlighting the whole container.
Yep.
Okay. I definitely would have put it in the hover to start.
So you see how on the bottom, the button is making the padding look
Extra.
extra?
Yeah.
Would you fix that personally?
Nope.
Try it.
So what I did there, so that was a question about design. I went back to the source material and said, nope, that's what it's doing here. If me as a developer had a problem with that, like, oh, like I don't like how there's extra padding here, it looks like, then I'd go talk to my developer, my designer, and go, I don't like this.
But that's something that could be changed by just switching.
Yeah.
Bottom padding.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can adjust paddings and like a Dino said, like padding bottom to 0.
So right now,
Yeah.
in the one you created, you have button right up against the picture.
Yep.
So if I wanted to, as in the sample, you have some space around.
Yep.
Basically, you would use margin in this case.
Yep. And we're actually going there next.
The button rounded too.
Yep. So look at the button. We see that color it has a different color text. It has a different color background. It has a hover. It's rounded and has some space around it. So let's do that.
It's so crazy how much code is in one little item.
Yeah, one little like button. Like it doesn't even like take into account all of this.
Yeah, that was the extra.
Yeah.
And the functionality of all that.
Exactly. So, pin button. Let's give it a little bit of margin. Just enough to kind of kick it off the image. Let's give it some padding as well. We said it had rounded corners, right? So border radius, gonna do a lot. So that's perfect enough for me. And then,
Be centered. Sorry. Like wonky.
I know, it's perfect. It's perfect enough for me.
Okay.
And then we need to do some hover over stuff. So normally it has no border and no background. So border none. And then once hover, it's actually not border none, border transparent. Oh, sorry. Background color, transparent. And then on hover, it is a background color. We'll give it a darker green just to stand out. It behaves the same way. So let's talk about what I did there. So on the button itself, I said, hey, that button doesn't have any default style, so it doesn't have a border or a background. So I set those both to something called transparent. What is transparent?
See-through.
It just means that it's see-through. So there's no color there. So whatever's behind it is going to be its color. I only want to change its color whenever I hover on it.
So, obviously we're making a static website.
Yep.
But on actual Pinterest, it's pulling that content dynamically, and so
Yeah.
there's not going to be a nav section with a UL and links. Or I'm sorry, not that part. Not going to be pins per se with images and buttons. It's going to be. Or is it?
It is.
It is.
It
You
is.
just have to dynamically change the picture and the link that it takes it to you.
So thinking ahead, before we think ahead, how are we with this? Do we feel better than an hour ago?
Yeah.
So we looked at how to look at a website, kind of dissect, look at what it is, see what sections we needed, see what items we needed to put inside the markdown. And really, in less than an hour, we were able to make a pretty decent Pinterest clone. Like, it's not the prettiest, but you know it's Pinterest. So to go back to answer Chris's question of how this would look on a dynamic site, is that what we've done here, we've created a template, pretty much. Like, here's what one thing looks like. So today, how we make the entire page is that we would just copy and paste a whole bunch of times.
I'm gonna keep going in. And then
You made it like children.
No,
How come it kept doing that? Yeah.
it's whatever I highlighted. It didn't highlight a line break somewhere.
Oh, okay.
So
We just need to put it in the flex and then wrap it.
display flex. Oh yeah. Dot pins. Never actually did that. Display flex. And
Now,
then flex wrap. Wrap.
This dude has no idea we're making a website about.
Nope, no idea whatsoever. So to get back to what we were saying is that now that we have this template, there are tools that say for all of our data, use this template to produce this HTML.
Is that object oriented?
No, that's just a dynamic site. Using something called a for loop.
I'm sorry, but that's written in JavaScript. Or-
Yeah,
or
that's a JavaScript kind of thing, or a Ruby kind of thing, or a .NET kind of thing.
Okay,
That's a not HTML, not CSS kind of thing. We'll actually probably get to that later next week.
I showed my work from last night to my brother, and his answer was, you know what? A couple of months ago, I used my intern to do my website, and he used Wix.com, and he did a better job than you. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, man.
Wix-
You're not getting it.
Wix is it's good to stand up a site really fast. You don't know what's going on.
what about, talking about WordPress,
Mm-hmm.
what is it and how does it relate to all of this?
So I'm gonna stop recording now. So maybe.
Bad.
Trump would have said the same thing.
So